So unfortunately, recently we did lose Wes, and yeah, please be kind of applause for Wes.
You know, I haven't always had the most forward trajectory of a career. It's gone up and down, and ebbs and flows, and good times and bad times. And you know, there's a moment in our lives in that movie, towards the end of the film, where he pulled me aside one day. And he said, you know, I walked up and he and Marianne were sitting there talking, and who's our executive producer. And he said, we were just talking that someday you're going to win an Academy Award. And I was like, shut up. And he's like, we're literally just saying that. And I was like, you should call my mom and dad and tell them that. And so he had the set phone brought over, because we didn't have cell phones back then. And he called my mom and said, someday your son's going to win an Academy Award. And the only reason I say that is, A, obviously, I'm awesome. But B, you know, in those moments when you are selling your house to get by, and you're trying to continue as a working class actor in this crazy business, because that's what this is. I mean, these moments are about celebrating these careers, but the time in between is really tough. Not for everyone, but for like working class actors, it gets really tough. And so in those moments of loss, feeling like you suck, this little nugget of Wes Craven saying you're going to win an Academy Award someday keeps you going.
He was just such a gem. I mean, he really was an incredible human being and such a brilliant director. Just knew how to talk to actors, knew how to move the camera, knew how to work with the crew and get them excited and make everybody feel involved and make everybody feel like it's their project. I loved him to death. Is there any one experience? I mean, I could talk about, you know, I remember some moments, some great just suggestions, because for me with Sydney, it was so much about, obviously she's fearful and for most of the film, so it's finding levels of that. And I remember actually in the scene we just saw, I remember Wes coming up to me and saying, just imagine that there's like 1,000 bullets ricocheting inside your body. And it was such a, I don't know, it was such an interesting note to give me, and really helped me get into the moment. So, you know, he was imaginative in that way, but I mean, I can't say enough about that man. He was just such an incredible talent. And I'm still really raw about it, so.
Absolutely understandable. What about you, Skeet?
Yeah, I think like Neve, it's hard to pinpoint any one moment, but he had such an interesting way of talking about, you know, the psychology of characters, and you know, he was just an incredibly bright, creative person. So when he would speak to you, it was, you know, it meant so much, and yet he had a way of keeping it loose and keeping you, you know, he would talk about so many other things you know, during it, and it just had a way of, you know, keeping your mind not so on it that you could stay loose and fresh, and then he would say one little thing, and it would mean the world to how you wound up playing it. It's very sad. I went to the memorial, as did Matthew, and we hadn't seen each other in a while, and I think we were some of the first people out of the memorial, and we met again in tears. And I think it just speaks to the impact he had on all of us, even though, I mean, I worked with him in like 2004. We did a movie called Curse together, which ultimately I didn't wind up in for various reasons. But I had gotten to know him a lot more on that, and I mean, he had a great impact on so many people's lives, and you could see it in that memorial, the depth of his influence across a broad spectrum of types of people and walks of life, and he's an incredible man.